Graves and the Lee Sin. So I think Lee Sin is going to be a contested pick, and we'll have to see how it plays out. But jungle is such an important role right now, and Rex required, the Grandmaster jungler, is probably the player to watch this series.
That does sound quite exciting. I would be very interested to see how the early Lee Sin, if he manages to pick it up, versus a late game Graves dynamic ends up playing out.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit. Not that Lee Sin isn't a carry jungler, but definitely not as much as something like the Nidalee or the Graves.
For sure.
Looking at the bot lane as well, Weatherman Gosu has been playing a lot of Leona and Nautilus, so I'm excited to see these kind of high CC, high engaged champions, and whether that combined with something like a Nidalee can lock someone down and create a really really bloody early game in the bot lane that could really snowball the game and let them take over through that lane. Um,
Definitely. It also cancels out a lot of picks that like to get their lanes ahead early. Um,
all right, we'll be getting into game. So it looks like we are seeing the Leona coming through, kind of taking that away from Weatherman Gosu. But again, this Alistar is a very high engaged champion, so that's pretty strong. And we are actually seeing Rex required on the Graves versus the Hecarim with no Ghost or Flash. So that's an Ignite Smite Hecarim. So a lot of damage and a lot of carry potential with that Hecarim if he can get snowballing. So I'm looking at Washington to try to make something happen early with this Hecarim ganking the Leona or the Lissandra, who both have so much potential to set up ganks onto, although, ganking an Ezreal and a Vladimir can be really difficult. So I think the pressure is on Washington to make something happen early because the Graves, Vladimir, and Ezreal are going to scale so well.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And throughout the game, we'll see Ornn get pretty tanky, as well as Leona. So I'm expecting Graves to be building not just damage, but penetration, armor penetration, which means that he's perhaps not going to be able to focus on Lissandra. So I would like to see him go for a counter gank or go for her early. Um, I think it will be too hard for him to lock down an Ornn or Leona bot lane. Um, but I'm excited to see how he plays against the Hecarim here.
Yeah, I think the Jhin is probably going to be the easiest target for anyone to gank. These late game team fights are going to be so dangerous for the Jhin to play against a Vladimir and an Alistar. And the set being able to kind of suplex that Leona or the Ornn away. If they can get that Ornn carried onto a high damage threat for Washington, that percentage health damage can deal so much.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely true. I'm seeing them being most powerful around the mid game, specifically early mid, but also late mid with Set and Alistair. Um, I'd like
Yeah,
to
and
see
especially
the mid and the late game like prevalence develop, see them playing for those
mhm.
different conditions.
Yeah, and with Washington hitting level 2 first, they definitely have a lot more pressure onto the Alistar and Ezreal. Leona becomes so much stronger as just Alistar that they're barely a champion level 1, but once they hit level 2, they're quite a threat. So definitely, Cal playing a lot of respect to the power of that Leona and the Jhin for that early trade and backing off from the lane. Um, there's so much engage and so much damage and follow up for both of these teams in the bot lane that it'll be definitely a risky lane for both sides. A ton of pressure coming out in the top lane, actually forcing
Yeah,
one off the turret and out of XP range.
I'm wondering what the meaning of revealing himself there was, since I don't really see it gaining them a whole lot. It let Hecarim know that the bottom scuttle was easy to take, and first blood comes out. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just a really nice play to pick up Weatherman Gosu. We didn't get to see all of it, but it looks like they just changed the Leona CC with the Jhin really well, and nicely played with the Ignite in the fourth shot to finish off Weatherman Gosu. Um, he held the flash there, and that might come back to hurt them. It never hurts to have flash up, but it might have been worth blowing that in order to live. And if you've got the Hex Flash, then Hex Flash does bring up so much presence in the lane. It can also be almost be worth blowing the Flash early, just that you have access to Hex Flash from the bushes.
curious to see what he ends up deciding to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they will get the shove here, but Leona does get the kill, so that's kind of the one positive there. Not that it's positive, but at least Jin didn't finish off um, that kill.
Right.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this Lissandra versus Vladimir matchup goes.
Yeah,
Because Vladimir is so slippery and he's so hard to lock down, but Lissandra has so much crowd control. Um,
which means that he might.
Speaking of which,
unstoppable, looking like he's going to be stopped in his tracks. Lissandra not going for the auto, finally picks him up, and Rest Required jumps onto the Ornn and finishes him off.
Yeah, and if you're Washington, you're happy to take that. You do blow the teleport, but Eugenium on the Vladimir is running Flash Ghost, so he doesn't have a teleport to match anyway, and it actually looks like he does blow that in order to take down TFT Doan. So Summoner's blown mid, but they pick up a kill on the jungler, and they're happy to get that return kill onto the Ezreal to match the bot lane kill from before.
And it looks like... Never mind. Back to the Vladimir versus Lissandra. I'm like you mentioned, she has so much CC. I'm wondering if he's not too careful about his W, about his blood pool, his easy escape out of tricky situations. I'm wondering if Hecarim will be able to plan for that and swoop in for an easy early kill before he's too strong to manage.
I mean, with the Leona Lissandra form, there's an incredible amount of lockdown coming in from this Washington team. There's very little CC outside of the Alistar and the set ult for Cal, with Graves, Vladimir, and Ezreal having pretty much nothing, right? Graves has the smoke screen, and Vladimir technically has a slow on his W, but you're never using that for the slow.
Something's
A
happening.
lot of these champions... What?
Something's happened on up top lane.
Oh.
Oh my. Lissandra goes down.
Yeah, and a lot of pickups.
Wow.
The Graves is sitting at 3-0. He's got a 13 CS lead, and that's a 300 bounty, and it looks like Vladimir might pick up this kill as well.
And that's what we like to see from Graves. He's going to have an easy time picking up Drake. He's going to have an easy time getting into the mid game, which is going to set him up for the late game. He also brings the damage that is so much required in order to get the rest of his team ahead. Because, like you said, there's not a whole lot of CC on his team. It's mostly damage. Leona going for a pickup on Ezreal as he tries to back. Gets her low, but double flashes exchanged. Jin will get low. Ezreal kind of trying to look here for the double.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close. And Izzy's holding on to the heal, but this Jin'll, if he can hit a couple bullets, is
but he dodges
very close. If
Wow.
you hit one more of those bullets, Lissandra is gonna pick up this kill most likely. Although I think she's gonna decide probably not to go in on that.
And Ezreal decides to stick around while the enemy bot lane, while the Leona and Jin start to rotate into the jungle. Actually,
Yeah, and if you're Hecarim, this is not a good spot to be in. The enemy jungler is 3-0. He's got a level lead, and you're just losing camps. And Hecarim is definitely a scaling champion who wants to be getting a lot of gold, and Graves is just going to go through your jungle and clear everything out. So
he really displays him right out of there.
Especially with this Triforce rush, you need to finish that as quickly as you can, and you're typically aiming for the 13 to 14 minute mark, hopefully, for when you've got Triforce done, and hopefully even some part of your jungle item, whether that's Warrior or Cinderhawk, whichever you go with.
I am a bit new to Hecarim. I am curious how he's going to manage that early deficit when his camps are getting cleared out. Mid lane, Leona goes down again. She's going for a very aggressive playstyle, it seems like. Lissandra gets picked up as well.
Yeah, and just Graves is going to start running away with this game. Rex Required has so much gold. And we talked before the game started about Rex just having... he's the player to watch this game. On the Graves, 5-0. Hopefully, Doan might be looking to pick up this Rift Herald, and you can get some plates and get some gold back, but it's a 3,400 gold lead, and you just gave up an Infernal Dragon, and you're only 9 minutes in. Uh, Cal may be looking to just run away with this game on the back of their very high elo jungler.
Yeah, I'm from Washington. I'm hoping to see them try to pick up the scraps of the gold that they can, try to build their items out, not look to be too overbearing, but protect their base from being run down, and see if they can play to their late game end game. But Rex Required is really showing his early game prevalence, and
Yeah, I mean, definitely a great start for Cal, but we want to see, can Washington kind of slow the bleeding and work on scaling? Because they do have the Ornn and the Lissandra and the Leona and the Jim and the Hecarim, which is such a powerful team fighting combo. All these pieces can add up to just completely erase someone. But on the other side of the map, Ornn's almost getting solo killed and he's having to blow the flash, and they're threatening dives on the bot side. So definitely a scary position to be in for Washington, but it's definitely not over.
I am curious to see if Leona or Ornn can get a 5-man knockup and look for something there. I mean, Graves is playing quite aggressively, as he should, because he's 5-0, but he has a 550 shutdown, and if they can pick that up, that'll be quite a comeback here.
Yeah, a nice attempt on the Deadly Flourish from Oshawott, but not quite able to pick up that Gromp. But yeah, I mean, this game is.
One goes for the knockup. Looks like the Saunders coming in, trying to pick up the set. He busts his W early, and he tries to run out of there, but Hecarim will pick it up, and there is the slight comeback that we were looking for from him.
Yeah, but on the other side of the map, we're seeing them pick up the double kill over there, and it's great to get some gold onto the Hecarim, but how much are you going to lose on the other side of the map with 2 kills going down plus quite a few plates?
Like you said, stemming the bleeding, but it is definitely not over. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we're 11 minutes in, and Ornn only has 40 CS. Plus Graves is up another 20 some CS. Definitely starting to scale, and we're at 5,000 gold in favor of Cal. So they've got to be happy with how this early game has gone for them, especially given how hard their team can scale. Graves already has the Warrior and Umbral Glaive done, while Hecarim is still sitting on Sheen and pieces.
I am curious why he decided to go for Umbral Glaive instead of something that would allow him to teamfight a little bit easier, see if he can get some more onto his Vladimir, who just picked up a kill and was already a kill ahead in CS in items advantages, but this will, I guess, allow him to look to contest picks a little bit more, if they should even occur, which is still a little confusing since I'm seeing Washington's seeing the win condition as a team fight.
Yeah, and
why the really 550 nice, shutdown?
Really nice play coming in from Washington to pick that up.
Yeah,
it's not looking too hot for Ornn.
No, it's not. But that will be worth it in terms of a trade. 550 plus.
Yeah, really nicely played to swap over to the exhaust there in order to slow him down, and they should actually get the first turret off that.
Pretty exciting.
So that's a lot of plate money into the pockets of Hecarim and Jin with the first turret too. They need to get this Hecarim
and half the next one,
or not ahead but caught up. Yeah, that's pretty huge, and they trade a turret on the top side, but you'll take the first turret plus getting gold onto your Hecarim to get him back into this game. He's not caught up to the Graves, who's sitting at 5-0, but the sooner you can get the Triforce done, the sooner your Hecarim becomes a real threat.
Right, we need to get, speaking from Washington's perspective, we need to get him a few more kills, get him into comfortable range, just so that even if it's evenly traded with the enemy team, he'll be out of position to feel just comfortable in the game at all, not still stuck in those early few, in that early mid-rim.
Yeah, definitely. Hecarim's he's sitting on kind of pieces and some money, but once those start becoming full items, he becomes really scary. And there goes Triforce at the 1340 minute mark, which is, maybe you could get that a little bit faster, but you're not too unhappy about that. The real concern is you're down 40 CS and 3 more kills down to the Graves, and this Graves is pretty scary. He's got a ton of gold. He's already sitting at 2 completed items, and he's working on his 3rd. plus the Infernal Dragon adding so much scaling onto this very high damage comp coming out from Cal.
Looks like a team fight is brewing in mid-river.
Unstoppable deals so much damage with the Blade of the Ruined King completed.
Lysandra not even able to contest, not for the tower, not for her life. Rex required busts his ultimate. That'll take down Lysandra.
Yeah, a nice collateral damage, just finishing off Lysandra, and that's the damage threat coming out. That with this set, Dolan Blade of the Ruined King, he's such a strong duelist, and he can just run people down. Really nicely played. Just a good pickup coming out of Cal. And the Cloud Drake definitely not the most impactful in team fights, but giving Alistar more access to that ultimate, giving Set more access to his ultimate, and Vladimir, you're never going to complain about that.
I think it was Cloud Drake. Or sorry, I think it was Ocean Drake this time. To allow them to heal back a little bit from the height from the fights. Oh! Yeah. Oh wow. Man, that is just
huge
a slaughter
overstep from Cal. And really nice, turnaround from Washington to be able to outplay that in order to save it. I think, and Cal playing a little bit too aggressive, knowing that they have this huge lead and thinking they could flex with it a little more than they could.
Yeah, good so.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of gold back, So good for Washington to start bringing their way back into this game. It's still a 5,000 gold lead, but some hope, looking at the Hecarim completing the Triforce, a really respectable build coming in from Oshawott with the Ninja Tabby. Wanting to mitigate that damage coming in from the Graves, from the set, from the Ezreal.
But I do wonder if it will be effective. I mean, I wonder if it might be more effective simply to just play away from the Graves, but with this Rift Scholar, it won't even be an option. I mean, whoever gets this gets the next tower, and that's going to impact the game a lot. But it will be Graves that picks it up, and as we've been talking about, they're coming back. Only 5k down now at this point.
Wait.
3.5. But
find yourself just getting absolutely ruined by Graves.
Yeah, Lysandra's been finding herself in a lot of risky situations and just been punished over and over despite her mechanics clearly being attacked.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, you're in such a hole. We're 17 minutes and they're pushing inhib turrets. And in multiple lanes. It's not just one lane. They've got such huge leads across the board. Graves finishes third item with the Edge of Night, and it's so hard to deal with this Graves. Ezreal's sitting on 2 items. Once that transforms into the Mana Mune, he's going to be so strong. But, how do you deal with this Graves?
I'm not sure. I'm not seeing an easy way to deal with the gold deficit either. Taking the jungle is just so... Set finds himself in a difficult situation. We'll hold out of it and we'll almost find a kill. We'll find the kill. Rex Required will take that kill on the Hecarim. And it'll put the rest of the team fight in a precarious position that will see Leona and... Who was that? And Jhin go down as well.
Maybe
they will take the 1,000 gold swing on Graves, though.
Yeah, so a little bit over-aggressive from Rex, but you can see that was a beautiful pullback from Unstoppable with the face breaker to get Oshawott back into that fight and finish him off.
I do wonder if they needed to take that, or they could have simply positioned around the tower and eventually taken the inhib there, but either way, they will take the inhib here, which is going to put Washington in not just a bad position, but stuck in the base collecting CS at this point, because it looks like they're trying to contest mid, because this is really their only chance. If they don't do it now, when are they going to do it?
This Vladimir is just huge. This was a 2v4. Yeah, I think Cal's just able to flex their gold lead so hard with Vladimir legitimately winning a 2 versus 4. It's
Jin trying to pick up the kill on
definitely a
set.
hard spot to be at.
And there goes half of Jin's health bar with the tree shot barrage from Ezreal.
Yeah, I don't want to say this game is over because it's not over, but the 10,000 gold lead pre 20 minutes is very hard to come back from. And Ornn's got the Sunfire Cave, he's got pieces of the Thornmail, but that's not going to stop this Vladimir from just running over you.
And it
Same with the
was
Graves, who's now 10-1 with 4 completed items, and they're sitting on 3 dragons.
yeah, it's putting him in a defensive position. He's also building lethality, so even if they start to try to build try to start building serious armor to deal with him, which is difficult when they need to play to their strengths. Build to their strengths. He's just gonna completely negate it.
Yeah, I mean lethality doesn't scale that well into armor, but when you're this far ahead, it doesn't matter. He's 10-1.
He has the damage,
He's level
regardless.
14. The highest level in Washington is only level 12. Um, yeah. Rex acquired the highest level in the game with 186 farm at 20.5 minutes. Definitely looking to do what we thought he might be able to do and just set the pace of this game completely by himself.
I am wondering if we'll eventually see a good 5-man Leona stun, or see them try to wombo combo with their large AoE ultimates, but I'm not seeing that come together. I'm seeing
I mean, even
the
if you
team fights
do,
getting picked from Cal's just so
even if you
different.
have that perfect team fight where, say, you catch Graves and gotta remember Graves also at the Edge of Night, so you have to break the Edge of Night first and then CC him down. But even if you manage to do that and you kill him and you get Vladimir, do you really expect you can kill Vladimir and Graves that quickly? Like this Vladimir is getting so much health from his passive. He's got the Rabadon stun, he's got the Spellbinders, he's got 10 stacks in the Book of BM. What are you gonna do to stop this Vladimir from just running through your team? You're not gonna one shot him because if you don't do, you have to dump everything into Vladimir, and then Graves will just kill you all.
And I'm seeing
They've
the
got
only source of grievous wounds on Washington team coming from Ornn with his if he gets auto attacked, and that's obviously not what Vladimir plays to. The team fight actually ends up coming out here. This is a double kill from Alistair.
like yeah, you get the Graves, but
This is just
what
a
about the
stomp.
rest of them? And I think that
That
might be
might
the
be
game
game.
at 22 minutes. I think Cal just absolutely popping off and playing this game so well.
Right.
A monstrous performance from Rex and from pretty much all of Cal. Unstoppable had some really great plays and really great ultimates, and Eugenium also with a couple solo kills, playing it so well, even diving the fountain at the end just because they can. And it looks like Unstoppable probably is going to be able to finish off Nexus. But even if he can't, it's only 23 minutes, and that will be the game actually. So
Honestly,
yeah, 23-minute win for Cal.
I I see this being uh I think this was a really masterful show in just how to abuse advantages. I honestly think that the jungle pick, it could have been Italy, it could have been Lee Sin, it could have been Elise, but even with Graves, who is a candidly a late game, early game gank, but late game unstoppable force, or just asset in team fights, he's really he managed to just apply advantage after advantage and see large results from it.
Yeah, I think going into game two, I want to see Washington try to really focus on playing around the bot lane. I think that was their big kind of point of strength. They definitely had some moments where it looked like it was going to be okay coming from the bot side. So we'll have to see if they're able to kind of make something happen on that front.
We did.
And
I saw them returning. We saw a lot of exchanges in bot that looked like it could go either way. So I am interested in seeing if they can win some of those in the future. And find a way to use that advantage.
Yeah, yeah. I think you either have to ban or take the Graves yourself, but I don't know if you can really fully ban out uh, Rex required. He plays quite a few champions, and they're there are a lot of really strong picks, and we know that carry. We just saw that carry potential is there. So, I think we're going to see Cal looking to play around Rex required again, and maybe Washington can make something happen on the back of Oshawott and their support.
Right, right. Um, I liked what they were doing with the counter ganks. We saw results from that, and I'd like to see results from that again, on the back of Washington. But but like you said, Rex required is not you can't ban him out. His early game mastery is going to be there, so it's really about how they play around that and make sure that he can't abuse the advantage that we just saw he can use so well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of how they change up champion select. I think we might see Washington try to commit to that early game that they didn't quite do in the first game. Um, but if you can, maybe if you can run away with it in the early game, you can push your lead hard enough that you don't get to that point where Vladimir is just killing everything and Graves is running over your whole team. But it's going to be hard to do.
I liked how Vladimir was pushing his advantages in mid lane. Even before he had a massive CS lead, he was really using his items to the full extent. He was applying his pressure, even before he got the first kill on Lysandra, and um, he was looking for that. And I'd like to see. I would like to see Washington try to play a little bit more around that. See if they can find ways to keep him from pushing that too far. See if they can get their mid laner, who is roaming all around the map. See if they can get their mid laner a little bit more ahead, so that those roams can be more effective if they choose to play another roaming mid.
Yeah, I'd love to see them draft for the roaming mid and for early game pressure and priority in the mid lane to kind of hopefully contain Rex required. Because if they can get that early pressure and that early priority coming out of the mid lane, you can do so much roaming with your jungler to help contain the other jungler and shut them down so they don't get that super strong early lead.
Right, that gives you a whole nother option, which is to directly contest the jungler instead of playing on the opposite of the map side of the map or
Yeah,
trying to play parallel.
yeah. So I'm curious to see how they manage the champion select the second time around, how they switch up their picks because I think Cal does not feel any pressure to do anything different than when they did in that first game because they had a 10,000 gold lead at 20 minutes and they just ran through them.
Absolutely. I don't think that we saw anything too exciting with the objectives. Nothing too much, uh, nothing too worrisome or unexpected there. It was really just pickups on the back of shutdowns.
Right, looks like we will be getting into the second game. Um, Washington opting to take blue side, and they have a lot of power with the. We mentioned the roaming mid. You can't get more roaming mid than Gallic, except maybe Twisted Fate. Going up against the Yone, who is very strong, but requires a little bit of gold to start scaling up.
Right. Late game, even if he doesn't do too well, he'll still have a massive amount of damage. He has a lot of agency for getting in fights, dealing some damage, and getting out. I would like to see him use that if he falls behind. If he uses that, if he gets ahead, I would like to see him try to roam and see if he can find something, maybe even bot lane on the very squishy Ashe. Um,
Yeah, I think there's so much side lane pressure with a Galio and an Ashe being able to collapse onto people with the Ashe ultimate. Um, I'm interested to see
sure.
the Malphite pick into the Renekton and the Graves. It's so hard to gank that Malphite because he gets so tanky so quickly. It's gonna be really hard to deal with.
That's true, but both Graves and Renekton like to bust through armor, bust through shields. So I'm curious to see if they, like you, I'm curious to see how they decide to play that.
Yeah, I would expect that Washington basically just commits to going towards the bot side of the map. You know, with Graves and Braum and Ash, you can break that or proc that Braum passive so quickly and get that stun off onto an immobile Jhin. You can really lock him down with the Ash ultimate because that Ash ultimate onto the Nidalee and onto the Jhin and even onto the Yone can be so deadly.
Absolutely. I'm worried about how CC is going to apply to Renekton, though, because it's so easy for him to avoid it, so easy for him to get out of it with Tenacity, which plays to his strengths.
Yeah, I mean the Alistar ideally for Cal will be able to tank up any CC and get in the way to block that Ash ult, and then if he needs to between the Ash ult and the Braum, once the CC is down, you just pop your ultimate and break anything on you, and then you can work on just
Looks like there's a
beating them
gank coming
back.
in on mid. Yone
Ooh,
getting taken
flash
on
coming
by
out from
both
Yone.
Graves and Galio. He flashes out. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's just a respect flash. But yeah,
Understandable. Graves does a lot of damage up close, and he was able to get into that range. Hey,
yeah,
I
a
think
good
that was
play
well played.
from Walton to try to make something happen early.
Right. Absolutely. I want to see what comes of the Nidalee. It looks like she might... Oh, she's going for Scuttle. And so is Graves, actually. He's wondering if she's there. He's going to go for the fight that's going to clash in River. And that'll be Graves almost taken completely down.
Yeah, and not a great spot to be in if you're Pasho, but a good flash over the wall diagonally gets him out.
I want to see how Cal uses Washington's last game picks. Better or worse? That'll be taken down.
Oh, teleport coming in from Pasho, actually.
Curious choice, but it would make sense to take Rex required early, see if Graves can get a little bit more out of it. Doesn't seem like he knows that the jungle is completely gone.
Yeah, I
He'll
mean,
just go for Rex.
it looks like we're actually going to see a gank coming in on the top side onto Unstoppable, so we'll see if they can make anything happen onto this Malphite, but the Rex required actually roaming up for the counter gank.
And this is quite worrisome, especially with... Can you pick up the Malphite? Will that be worth it? I don't think so.
Beautifully played from Rex required to actually tank up those Graves auto attacks because you can block those.
I'm I'm a little bit confused as to why Rex Required didn't decide to go in and look for an invade. Perhaps he thinks that that jungle is taken, or perhaps he's just trying to path to the Drake and look for an early contest there because he's been doing so well early on.
Yeah, I mean, if you can pick up that early dragon with a Yone, Nidalee, and Jhin on an Infernal Drag, that's so good for your team. They have such a high damage comp. So
That's true.
we'll have to see, you know, both sides really want that first dragon. We'll have to see who can make it happen with some early lead coming out for Washington on the bot side like we predicted, but Cal definitely starting to build a couple hundred gold lead. Nothing huge yet, but we'll have to see if they can transition that into anything bigger like they did last game.
I'd like to see how top lane's ultimates looks like they're going in for a fight there. Wonder what will happen up there. Looks like Renekton decides to back off. I would like to see how Renekton's ult and Malphite's unstoppable force how they work around the Drake, since it looks like that hasn't not been decided on yet. If they're able to get into that range, if they're able to get that experience before it happens. I wonder because like you said, the damage dealers, there are so many of them, but they're also quite squishy. So if Renekton can get onto them with his ultimate, perhaps he can pull off a kill or two, or at least pull them off of the dragon.
Nice ult coming in from the Galio that is really going to disrupt this gank. And
Yone decides to pull his own ultimate. But he's too low. He over-engaged, and that'll be him taken down from
Yeah.
Oshawa.
And he was so close to getting a couple of kills there, just not
Was.
quite enough on the Galio and on the Braum. These fights are so close, and great for Washington to pick up some gold there and pick up some XP. It's definitely a little reassuring that you're able to win these fights, and a nice roam down from Pasho to be the first of the fight, utilizing that Galio ult.
Right, right. It could have been very good for getting them ahead. It did get them the Yone, which is good. But at the same time, that whole situation allowed them to get some vision down and control the dragon a little bit more. And with Weatherman having the control word for dragon, I'm not seeing how Washington controls the vision around that area if they look to do that. It's feeling like it might be an easy dragon for them, especially with Galio's ultimate down for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll have to see if they can play around those big cooldowns. The Ashe ultimate coming up, and most likely we're going to see Braum coming in with the ultimate very soon.
A lot of big ultimates here.
Yeah, there's some very, very important cooldowns from both sides that were used, but Flash coming up soon for both Jhin and Ashe is going to be really important.
Jungle fight here in Italy, looking for some damage. We will not find it. Nice sidestep from Gowan. Devon. Eugene shoving in mid. That could be indicative of going for Dragon, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Brave is on the bot side, and they did just see Italy on this skull, so it looks like he won't be going for the Drake. But I'm a little surprised by that. They've got priority on the bot side. Graves can easily solo that with the warrior almost completed.
I wonder if they're going to put a couple of people on Rift and see if they can make use of that and see if they can utilize a huge power play to get Dragon. It's a risky play, and I don't see it very often, but it could net them a lot of gold and advantage.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can do with this Rift Herald, because it looks like they will actually pick up the Dragon as well. We'll have to see if there can be a steal that comes through. Yeah, so Doan not going over the wall to attempt for the steal.
Yone pops an ultimate, but Ashe goes down.
It's a massive ultimate coming out of the Braum. Beautifully played to pick up a 2-for-1.
A lot of gold exchange there, but it won't leave them too far apart.
Yeah, this is a very close game, which I love to see. Both junglers doing very well for themselves, both with 2 kills. The farm not too different. They both completed their jungle items and are working on their second item.
Right, I'm excited to see what becomes of this jungle matchup and see where she decides to put the Rift. Put down Shelly.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Jhin has completed the boots and is that delays. It definitely delays your spike with the Storm Razor a bit, but the added move speed and the boosted swiftness, especially given the slow reduction, is so huge against Ashe from stopping you from just getting picked off and run down. It'll be interesting to see how that bot lane plays out, because Ashe is getting very close to having that Blade of the Ruined King completed.
Which is a large power spike.
Yeah, Ashe just deals so much damage with that completed. With the lethal tempo and the Q, Ashe can really melt through tanks like the Malphite and like the Alistar.
And she'll be allowed I'm sorry.
We will be dropping the top turret here. It's almost certainly going down. Yeah, that'll be it. Because it takes about 2,700 health off for a full charge, and each plate is 1,000 health. So,
and
good play to get this Malphite going, because there's almost no damage that's magic damage on the side of Washington. So if this Malphite gets really tanky, it's going to be so hard to kill.
Right. He's very good counter comp. But if he goes in, if Malphite goes in with his ultimate and Galio manages to taunt him, they do have a lot of damage and that they can use to take him down if that situation arises. So. I want to see Ashe looking for Nidalee, looking to control her, but Nidalee is already pretty far ahead, looking to control her with her early gold lead.
Yeah, and they turn this around so well. This is so scary now for Pasho, and I find it very unlikely to get that up here.
And Yone doesn't risk anything using his ultimate.
Yeah, just a nice, well executed dive.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, Cal definitely, they're back up to a 3,500 gold lead. Renekton getting some back, so Mario cool, getting a little bit of gold back off the platings on the mid turret, and if you can open up the mid turret, that is really huge for the Galio to be able to make some roams happen. But definitely Cal looking to do what they did in the previous game and keep on pushing this gold lead with the 4-0 Nidalee, and the Malphite's going to be so hard to kill.
Yeah, the Malphite's going to be hard to kill, and he's going to be able to roam with that gold lead. But Rex is already in his element. He has 4 kills. He has 2 assists. He's looking at his early game, not win condition, but something he knows so well. His strengths are being stacked. He's going to be able to use that. I will be looking for that in the next few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Rex required has the most gold in the game by quite a bit. The nearest is his top laner, and Rex has a 450 gold lead over the Malphite. So definitely a big, and that's why he run cleanse against an Ashe. Just an instant cleanse coming out from Issy's Cutie to stop the Ashe from just being a guaranteed lockup into kill. I think maybe if the Braum ult is off cooldown there, you can do it, but
I think with a little bit of CC from Braum, but Braum is such a defensive pick for an Ashe to keep her safe, ensure that she can't get locked down while she tries to play for poke or to run down her enemies. It's not something like Nautilus, which will be able to get her some early kills.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It has a lot of utility and it can keep you so safe, but outside of a big ultimate, it's definitely not the strong offensive engaging champion.
Wondering what's going to happen here. They're looking for a pick on Oshawott, but Washington is going to say no. We're going to threaten you over near Dragon, and Cal decides to retreat a little bit for their positioning, and that's feeling like a disengage, but Dragon isn't going anywhere. Rex is already on the Dragon. Washington looking to challenge this.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be at stall point like 15 minutes in, but it looks like they will give it up and not fight for it.
There's really nothing they can do. If Alistar decides to engage, then that's...
Yeah, and the Malphite too.
Absolutely.
But it's a 4,000 gold lead at 15 minutes, and Cal sitting 2-0 on Dragons.
Ultimate comes out from Braum, but it's not going to save anything. And that is not the bot fight over there. Looking for Cal to go down. Cal backs up, doesn't look too far, using their high damage poke. Teleport comes in from Galio, and he's looking to help pick this up, but Cal does not go down, and that is a large sweep for Cal.
With no help. That was so close to being a kill, and a huge shutdown on Unstoppable, but Washington just not quite able to get it. That would have been so much gold into their pockets.
Massive risk, massive reward.
And Eugenium just getting everything.
And that emote says it all.
Even with the crab. Yeah, I mean, Cal looks like they're on track to do what they did last game. And,
absolutely, 7.5k ahead.
This Ashe was definitely a point of strength for a little bit, but now Ashe is sitting at 1-4, and you have to question whether that's going to be enough. The Graves that was previously doing so well is definitely falling off a little bit, down 40 CS, and the 4-0 Nidalee and 5-0 Malphite have to be pretty concerning if you're looking to the face of this mountain that just run over you because no one can kill him.
I can, yeah, there's absolutely no way that Washington can look for anything easy on that 500 shutdown on Malphite, but I am curious to see if they can play around.
I mean, Nidalee's very flanked, and with a nice Ashe ult, Nidalee, although Nidalee has a lot of kills, she's not a tank champion, and if Ashe ults, that could...
That's a large shutdown potential.
Well, I shut down, but doesn't look like the shutdown's gonna happen.
But they just get pick after pick,
and Galio
evenly divided.
To being next, but
and that's his taunt down, and then that's him down.
Yeah, Rex almost dying, but not quite to the turret. Oh, Rex actually does die, and it looks like maybe a rage quit over that death with the DC.
Oh no!
Probably not though. So, Cal looking pretty strong.
That's a lot of gold from that shutdown, but it is even more from virtually the entire team falling. Washington.
Yeah, if you're Rex, you're a little sad about your perfect game. You take that fight every time.
Every time. Absolutely. But this is red team. This is Cal getting run down. We've been talking about how oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Malphite for a second there.
No, but the Alistar during the ult is so tanky with that 60% damage reduction on the rank 2 ultimate that, or I guess it's only a rank 1 ultimate, but yeah, I mean the Alistar gets so much damage reduction that it's very difficult to kill him, but this gold lead definitely working in Cal's favor, that they can take some of these fights that, in a different circumstance they just would not go for, but
I feel like
Cal definitely looking strong.
I feel like Cal make the same mistake that Washington did. They got a little bit stringent, and to be fair, this was a little bit more, had a little bit more to do with just overestimating what their advantage was in that lane. But as they started to get a bit stringent, as members of them started to go down, their power just alone was not enough, and then they started to get picked up by Washington. So
yeah.
So
yeah, but these gold leads are massive. I mean,
yeah,
8,800 gold on the Yone, and he's a late game champion. You do have to worry that Yone is going to be able to practically 1v5 in another item.
Yeah, Braum has
very
Braum has a few hundred more, but
roughly half the gold of Yone.
Yeah.
So it's not a good spot. Which, to be fair, we're comparing a mid laner with a couple kills to a Braum. I do not expect Braum to have a lot of gold, but the 2,200 gold lead.
Renekton versus Malphite, this top lane has shifted down bot lane, but it is not even looking like a fight. Unstoppable just running him down, backs up, and then jumps in with unstoppable force.
Yeah, Unstoppable really showing where the name comes from with that Malphite. Just clapping Mario Cool 4 back to the base. Not where you want to be as the Renekton when Malphite's solo killing you.
No, and this is going to put them in a quite bad position to contest this dragon if they were even thinking about doing that before. They're positioning, but I'm not seeing this happening.
Yeah, they pull it out. It does reset, but
Galio trying to go in. They gets the taunt on. They're getting lots of good damage on Cal, but are they going to be able to pick it up at the end? Braum is not going to be able to do that alone. He's positioning, but Ashe is not feeling confident about this, and Braum is starting to get taken low.
This could be good for Washington.
This could be very good for Washington, but they are very hesitant. They don't want to throw it like they have before, and that is Jhin going to go down. Alistar manages to live.
Plus the dragon, Washington gets everything they want.
That was massive.
That's 2 dragons to 1? Yeah.
And I want to see what that gold lead is.
Yeah, so the gold lead's still 6,000. But they're going to run straight over this bear, and I don't think they can do this, but, I think they've got to try. Rex requires 10 15 seconds, so does his Cutie. And
They're gonna get a chance. It is
yeah, with the
now.
teleport from the Malphite coming in, you have to back off, but you do get the teleport out, so that's pretty huge.
Malphite looks for a pick. Is he gonna find it?
It looks like he
Looks like
will
he
not
might. Yone
quite,
is looking
but
to
Yone
finish that off
going
and
in,
will find it.
and he'll get out too, but they will trade Unstoppable for it. Plus,
That's
he
an
gets go
end double
on.
trade.
I,
Wow.
where is this damage coming from? The full tank Malphite absolutely slapping people.
Unstoppable and full of force. Really bringing true meaning to that name.
He is truly an unstoppable force in this game. The 7-3 Malphite working on finishing his third item at 22.5 minutes. That's
Yone taking bigger and bigger risks because he's allowed to at this point.
I mean,
I want to see
yeah,
them come
who's
back
gonna,
with the gold that they've gotten, but
not to
with
be
the
too cheesy, but
withdraw.
who's gonna stop him? He is truly unstoppable.
Ash is doing everything she can, but that is very little at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the curtain call coming in, the Yone playing the fight beautifully with a huge knockup, chaining with the Alistar, followed by the curtain call and the Nidalee Spear. These team fights are so hard to play for Washington, and
At least Shelly went down. That'll hold the tower for a little bit longer.
not much.
Not much.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing these games so well.
Honestly,
And these fights.
is yeah, they are. I mean, this is I'm seeing Jin's dream come true. This is a perfect execution at this point.
Yeah. Wow, everybody going in at the exact same time. It was so clean. But definitely not the position that.
House coordination is scary. I
Yeah,
see Washington working together to salvage, but
yeah, so that'll be our games for the night. Thank you for tuning in. That'll be the Cal versus Washington match.
Not to say it.
Yeah, a great series for Cal coming off the back of a defeat from University of Washington or from their previous loss. So